The night I stopped existing in their world, it was raining hard. Not just outside the house, but inside me too. My name is Olivia. I was 16, young enough to still need them, but old enough to understand their coldness. I stood in the kitchen. My fists were tight. My voice shook, but it was clear. I'm not your maid. I'm not someone you hit when you're angry. I'm your daughter. My brother Caleb, the favorite, sat at the table, eating soup like none of this was about him. Of course, it wasn't. He was the sun. I was the shadow. My mother didn't yell. She didn't need to. She wiped her hands on a towel and said it like it was the final word. You need to leave, Olivia. No shouting, no feelings, just a cold goodbye. My father didn't speak. He didn't even look at me. He just turned away, quiet and casual, like I was a TV being turned off. The silence after that wasn't empty. It was full of ending. I remember trying not to cry. I didn't want them to feel good about this. I grabbed my backpack and walked out, the front door. No one stopped me. No one called my name. No one even closed the door. The rain hit my face hard. I had no plan. I had nowhere to go. But I knew the truth. I didn't run away. They got rid of me. They would tell people a different story. That I was difficult, that I didn't listen, that I left because I wanted to. But they wouldn't say that they never asked why I cried myself to sleep for years. That I made dinner while they praised Caleb's achievements. That I cleaned up my own blood when he hurt me. And my mother told me not to cause trouble. They hid the truth so well that I almost forgot it myself. But I remembered something small from that night. As I closed the door, I heard them whispering to each other, not to me. If no one sees the papers, we're okay. Just keep quiet. I didn't know what they meant then. Maybe I didn't want to. I told myself it was nothing. Just one last mean thing, as I left. But years later, I would understand. It wasn't just mean, it was planned. That night wasn't just the end of my childhood. It was the start of a cover-up. One that would stay hidden until I came back to show everyone the truth. But first, I had to live after they erased me. I didn't fall apart. I didn't give up. Slowly, step by step, I built a life in their silence. The first year was the hardest. I slept in shelters. I showered at public gyms. I ate peanut butter for dinner. I cleaned motel bathrooms during the day and stocked shelves at night. People walked past me every day and didn't see me, just like my family. But I kept going. I studied in libraries that were open all night, using borrowed books and cheap coffee. I filled notebooks with schoolwork, job applications, and dreams. I couldn't say out loud. No one cheered for me. No one saw when I did well. But little by little, I started to win. A small scholarship, an unpaid internship, a job offer. By the time I was 28, I had my own apartment. No one else paid for it. My name was on the lease. My fridge had food I bought. I even bought a used armchair. It wasn't new, but it was mine. Some nights, I sat in it and looked at the walls. It was quiet, peaceful, but also empty. No family pictures, no calls, no birthdays. I had a life, but it felt like a house with no sounds inside. No one remembered I was alive until they needed something. It was a Wednesday afternoon. I was looking at the mail after work. Bills, junk mail, a postcard. Then I saw a heavy cream-colored envelope. No return address, just my name and familiar handwriting. My breath caught. Inside was a card. We need to talk. Your father is unwell. It was signed, Mother, unwell. The word felt cold, not sorry, not we miss you, just a need. The handwriting was neat, perfect. It reminded me of birthday cards from years ago. Cold, careful, unwell. Why now? After all this time? A small, bitter laugh came out. They only reached out when they needed something. Still, something made me keep the card. Not because I forgave them, not because I believed them, but because it made me wonder again, did I ever mean anything to them at all? And I knew I wasn't going back to make things right. I was going back to find out the truth. The neighborhood looked smaller than I remembered. The trees weren't as tall. The house looked old. The paint was peeling. One shutter was crooked. The porch light flickered like it was tired. But it was the same address. My hand shook a little as I parked across the street. I sat there for a minute, looking at the windows. Would they know I was near? Stupid thought. I was never really seen in that house. I got out of the car. The gravel crunched under my shoes as I walked up the driveway. My heart beat fast. I raised my hand and knocked once. Hard. No going back. The door opened slowly. It was her. My mother. Her hair was perfect. Her clothes were neat. She looked like she was always ready for important people. She saw me, and her face changed. It went white, like she'd seen a ghost. "Olivia?" she whispered. Before I could speak, my father was behind her. He was thinner, his shoulders bent. He held a cane. His eyes still didn't really look at me. He opened his mouth like he might say something, then closed it. Behind him for a second I saw Caleb. He was taller. He looked like he'd never left. He looked at me for a moment, no smile, no nod, then turned and walked away. Like I was just someone at the wrong door. And still, my mother smiled. "Come in," she said, like this was a nice surprise. They asked me to stay for the weekend. They said I could have my old room. The air in the house felt fake, like they were acting. Dinner was quiet and tense. My mother asked about my job, but not my life. My father asked if I talked to anyone, but not them. Caleb didn't eat with us. They were all pretending. But the thing that really got to me happened later that night. In my old room, I opened the drawer in the nightstand. Inside was an old birthday card. Pink. Faded. The kind my mother used to give me before she stopped trying. I opened it. The handwriting was neat. Perfect. And suddenly I remembered the card I got. "We need to talk. Your father is unwell." It wasn't his writing. It was hers. Exactly hers. A cold feeling went through me. He didn't write that. She did. They hadn't reached out because they missed me. They had planned this. This wasn't a family visit. It was a trap. Dinner the next night tasted like nothing. Not because the food was bad. My mother always cooked well, but the silence was thick, like honey that wouldn't pour. Everyone was trying too hard to act normal. My father sat at the end of the table, moving his food around with his fork, his eyes far away. My mother drank her wine too fast and asked questions that didn't matter. "Do you still like that music? Is your apartment downtown? Do you still drink peppermint tea?" Questions that meant nothing, just filling the quiet. Then she said it, like it was nothing important. "We all had to move on. Some of us grew up." I looked up. Our eyes met. For a second, I saw it. The cold look under the fake smile. This wasn't sorry. It was a test. But I didn't say anything. I had learned that silence could say a lot. That night, I couldn't sleep. The house made noises I didn't remember. The walls felt close. The air felt heavy. I left my room and walked down the hall. Something pulled me. Maybe I just knew. I walked past the stairs to my father's study. The door was open a crack. I heard voices inside, low and quiet. I stopped and listened. It was my mother. "If she helps with his care, we'll put her back in the will. She'll think it means something. Just act like it." My body went cold. My hand gripped the wall. They weren't asking me back. They were buying me. Using me for money. I turned quietly and walked away. In the hallway, my phone buzzed. A message from a cousin I hadn't seen in years. Someone who was always quiet and watched everything. "Hey, I thought you should know. You're not in the will. Haven't been for a while. But money changes things." There it was. The truth. Not a welcome home. Not family. A business deal. Later that night, I still couldn't sleep. I went up to the attic. I just needed space. Air. The attic was always off limits when I was young. My mother said it was full of mold and broken things, dangerous. Not for me, but now I was grown. And danger didn't scare me anymore. I pushed, opened the creaky door and climbed up, using my phone light. dust, old boxes, broken chairs, a cracked mirror, and then a locked file box. It was open a little. Inside, an envelope. Confidential was written on it in red. I opened it. A DNA test. 2 names, 2 results, 1 answer. Caleb was not my father's son. I blinked. Read it again. It didn't change. Caleb, the golden boy, the one they protected, wasn't even really their blood. And me? I was the only real child. And they threw me away. Suddenly, the whispers from years ago made sense. As long as no one sees the papers, we're okay. They weren't afraid of me acting out. They were afraid of me finding out. They didn't just push me away to punish me. They erased me to protect him, to protect the lie. We all had to move on, she said, but they didn't move on. They covered up. And I was just something in their way. I stood in the attic, the paper shaking in my hands. They didn't just leave me. They used me for their secrets. And now they wanted me back? No, they wanted my money. They wanted me quiet, useful. But they didn't know one thing. I had the truth, and I was done hiding it. The invitation said formal. I wore black. Not sad, just clear. The wedding was at a fancy club. White roses, soft music, people pretending to be close. I wasn't invited, of course. But I didn't need an invitation to walk into a place built on lies. I had practice. As I walked in, people turned. Voices got quiet. Mouths opened a little, not happy, not welcoming, just shocked. Is that no way she actually came? I didn't smile. I didn't nod. I walked past them like they were ghosts, like I was the one coming back from the dead. My mother saw me first. She blinked hard. Her champagne glass stopped in the air. Her lips got tight. She didn't say a word. My father was in the corner near the bar with his cane. Family who didn't know anything about what he'd done were around him. He looked up. Our eyes met. He looked scared. I sat in the back. Quiet. Waiting. The wedding went by in a blur of fancy. Clothes and soft promises, fake tears and bright smiles. Then it was time for speeches. Family members stood up and talked about old stories, gave blessings, shared memories that made our family seem like something it never was. Whole, loving, honest. Then they said, if any other family members would like to say a few words. The silence felt awkward. So I stood up. People gasped softly. My heels clicked on the floor as I walked to the front. I took the microphone and turned to face the room. Faces I knew. Faces that had forgotten me. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. Family means showing up, I began. So I did. Some people smiled, not sure what was happening. My mother's face was frozen. You told everyone I ran away, but you never told them why. You said I failed, but you failed me first. You said I disappeared, but the truth is I was erased. A quiet sound went through the room. A few people coughed. My father looked down. I was 16, thrown out like trash. No warning, no goodbye, just silence. I looked right at my mother. And now, after all these years, you invite me back. Not because you're sorry, but because you want something. I let those words sink in. Then, slowly, I reached into my bag and pulled out a folded paper. This is the card I got a few weeks ago, signed by my father, asking me to come home. I paused. Except he didn't write. She did. People gasped again. My mother's face lost all color. She faked his writing. She set this up. She played the victim, all to get me here. I unfolded another paper. And by the way, I already gave money to the charity. Quietly. 2 weeks ago. Not because I wanted to thank you, but because I wanted to see if you would still lie, even after I helped. People started whispering, looking around. The fake picture was breaking. You didn't miss me. You missed what I could give you. You didn't want a daughter. You wanted someone to use. I turned to the bride and groom at the front. I hope things are better for you than they were for me. Don't keep the silence. Don't let the bad things keep going. I put the microphone back on the stand. My mother sat still, her mouth open, her eyes wide. My father was crying, his shoulders shaking. But I couldn't tell if it was guilt or fear. And I didn't care, because for the first time, I had said everything they tried to hide. For the first time, I was louder than their silence. And it felt right, not angry, not wanting revenge, just right. I walked out. There was no sound, no clapping, no yelling, just the quiet of their lost control. And that was enough. The night air felt real. No lies to hide behind. It was quiet outside too, after what I just left. The fake smiles, the shaking hands, the silence after the truth. I kept walking, my heels steady, my breath calm. Then I heard it, the soft, slow tap of his cane on the stone path. My father. He stopped a few steps behind me. "Olivia?" he called out, his voice weak. "Wait, we can fix this." I turned around slowly. I looked at him. His eyes looked small now, not sad, just empty. "You can't fix what you buried," I said quietly. And then I saw it. The edge of a phone sticking out of his coat pocket, still recording. Still red light on. Of course. Even now, it wasn't about making things right. It was about protecting himself. I took a step closer, leaned in, just enough for him to hear. "Make sure your lawyer hears this too," I whispered. "I'm not coming back. Not for the house, not for the name, not for you." I stepped back, looked at him one last time. Then I turned and walked away. No tears. No one ran after me this time. And that silence, it was finally mine. They thought I was gone forever. Now I am. My voice may be just words on a screen, but the journey I've shared with you, the pain of being unseen, the fight to rise above, that's real. If even a sliver of my struggle, my eventual triumph, has stirred something within you, if you've ever felt overlooked or had to fight for your place, then connect with this story. A like is a whisper of solidarity. A subscription is a promise to hear more voices like mine. Let's amplify the stories of those who had to fight to be heard. If you felt this, show it. Thank you.